What is up? Pokerbrandon here, and in this hand, I'm playing 5-5, no limit hold'em, 300 to 600 buy-in at the Gardens on a Saturday around 2:45. We get a cutoff open, a button call, a small blind fold, and I'm on the big blind with pocket fours. Um, I'm gonna say it's a mistake to raise this in this spot. I think it's always just a set mine, just a call. As long as you have more than 220, as long as you have more than 240 bucks in front of you after a $20 open, just set mine it, play post flop. I don't think there's any reason to ever try to isolate here with pocket fours. Because if you get re-raised, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Call, jam? Are you going to jam over a re-raise? You're going to call and play a bloated pot, and now you can't even set mine. So just simple call here. Cut off, just so you know, he was a GTO tight reg, and the button was also pretty tight. They weren't loose. They were playing right. So flop is going to come out. It's going to be 4-7 queen with 2 diamonds. This is just a 100% check. I think if you do want to get a little bit weird and bet into opponents here, you can, only when your opponents are very call heavy, high percentage callers, and they assume you're bluffing a lot. If you have like a good loose bluffing image, I think it's a good little donk right here. Also, if you think your opponents are too tight to the point where they just never c-bet, they only play face-up hands, I think a donk is okay. But my opponents, especially in the tight reg, he usually was, putting out his c-bets accordingly. But in this circumstance, he checks it after I check it, and the button surprisingly puts out a bet. Now, the button was a smart player. He was not dumb. I think he will attack spots on the button. So because I think that's the case, I elect to sort of slow play my set. I think if I raise here, my VPIP was way too low, to the point where any check raise doesn't even look like I might be bluffing. It just looks like I flopped a set or 2 pair. So I sort of figure that if I just call, I'm representing more 1 pair hands and more draws on my part. So that's what I do, and I want to keep my opponents in, but the cutoff folds and I go heads up to a turn card, which is a 10 of diamonds. Pretty horrible, because if my opponent on the button was betting out with a draw he just got there, if it's a diamond draw. But I think that my best option here to save money and profit is to hope that he has just like a 1 pair hand, like a queen, and target that. So that's what I do. So instead of checking and calling if he bets, I decide to control the pot. And I think this is a trick that I don't see most players doing, and you can use it. So I have set, it's a big hand. I want to target a queen, so I think I want to size a bet here so that it targets a queen. And one other thing my size will do is, if my opponent did indeed get a flush, he's going to feel the need to raise, and my opponent is going to want to raise and bloat the pot up. So I bet 45, and I think that is a nice size to target a queen, and my opponent quickly calls. So when he quickly calls, I feel like this opponent specifically, I can't use that as a sign of weakness. I think he's smart enough to know that a quick call is weakness. So because I think that he is that smart to know that, I can't really assume that is exactly the range of hands he has, like a weakness type hand. So I just go ahead and hope that it's still just a top pair, and I'm hoping the board's gonna pair on the river, after he calls. Another thing about this opponent, I feel like he's the type he would have raised me there if he had like the ace of diamonds. I feel like he would do that on the turn. I think. But anyway, river is going to come and river is going to be an ace. And I think that's just a really bad card. Because if my opponent does have like, he shouldn't really have ace queen there because I think he would 3-bet that. He's the type of guy that would 3-bet that on the button. So I think if anything, he could have like ace 7, but that's just way too weird unless it's like ace 7 of diamonds. I feel like it's a bad card because if I'm targeting a queen, now a queen isn't really going to want to make a call. But at the same time, I don't want to check this and allow a bluff-sized huge bet to go through, and then I'm in a spot where I want to call a pot-sized bet. So I think it is best here to control the pot and to target, even though it's unlikely a queen will call, I target a queen with an $80 bet. I think this size could get like a king-queen to put in a call sometimes. I don't ever expect like a king-queen to raise. The one thing I know that this bet will do though is it will always induce a flush to raise, just like what I get here. Button raises me to 250. Now, I feel like my opponent is capable of putting in a bluff with like the ace of diamonds nut flush blocker. But I feel like the ace of diamonds nut flush blocker here just picked up value, right? He paired the ace. So I think it's going to be way less of a bluff. And I don't, if he did have like an ace 9 offsuit hand or like an ace jack offsuit with 1 diamond, it being the ace of diamonds, I think at this point he might just call because my hand looks like I have the flush and I'm betting out for value, right? So I feel like, you know, he would have played a little more carefully with the 1 pair hand if he hit the ace and he would have just called. I think this is just always going to be a straight or a flush. It is never going to be like a queen jack hand that is now turning his hand into a bluff. Even if he had like ace queen, he just has 2 pair now. Why is he going to turn it into a bluff here? Or is he really trying to get value from weaker with a 2 pair ace queen? So I think it's just, I think I did a good job here blocking with 80 bucks, trying to get worse to call. And when he raises, I think that's just always going to be better. I never see his hand, but I do ask him later, a day later, about the hand. And this is the only hand I played against this opponent. And he did tell me when I asked him about the hand we played, he remembered exactly me and my face. And he said, just straight up, before I could even finish asking about our hand, he says, oh, I had a flush. Turned to flush. And I was like, wow, you know what? I didn't even finish asking my question about the hand. And he's like, yeah, well, we only played 1 hand together, right? Yeah, that was the flush hand. I hit a flush. So I believe him. What do you guys think? I'm Pokerbrandon, and I'm out.